Welcome to another edition of the Dental Today podcast. Thank you for stopping by. This is brought to you by labmediatv. My name is Hezekiah Morales, and here we go. Remember to follow us on social media at labmediatv. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dental Today podcast. Another wonderful day. We have another special guest. You did hear a little teaser a couple of days ago, but he was on a rush, so we couldn't get deep into conversations. But today we have him all to ourselves. He is a partner at Imagine as well as the production director. We are talking about Mr. Erik Niederhauser. Erik, welcome to the show.
Yo, thanks a lot, boss. How's it going, man?
Hey, it's fantastic as usual. I see you wearing your Lab Media TV t-shirt. It is on fire.
Dude, I love it, man. I unpacked it. I got both shirts and the hat. Check it out, the hat. Pink as requested. I freaking love it, man. All the way, man. Love for you, man. Right there.
Lighting it up in Cali, aren't you, brother?
Heck yeah, man. You got to do it every day, right? Be out there and pushing it hard.
For sure, man. And last time you were on the show, again, we did make that clear. You were in the middle of a little conflict. Somebody on your camp, one of the talents on your camp, was absent that day. You had to pick up a few things, make a few adjustments, and that's why we had to cut the program short. However, today we will have a little more opportunity to talk about a few things. So, Erik, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and I'd like to start by the basics here. I would like for you to share with me, from your perspective and the things that you're doing as a production manager or the director of production out there. Imagine, what does your day look like today? You were out in the East Coast, now you're in the West Coast. A lot of changes, a lot of exciting news. But what is your day like today?
Well, every day is different, right? Every day you have different cases coming in, different cases with different specialty. You got to look into it. I mean, you have bars that come in, all in fours, hater bars. You know, we have Montreal bars coming through, zirconia all in fours. Then we have a lot of the production is for dental laboratories that we just scan, design, and then mill and push it to their client to be finished. Then again, we have a lab section that we service doctors directly. So there's a lot of plating glaze, porcelain stacking as well. But my day-to-day looks basically like coming in the morning, associate with my team, what has to go on, what's the topic on special cases that have to be special addressed on by me to look into it. If there's some talks I have to do with clients before we can start the case. For today, for example, I had to stack 2 all-in-fours. So I stacked 2 pink all-in-fours, stain and glazed them, cement them, and got them out the door, as well as about 15 single crown stain and glaze.
Wow.
So that's like my day-to-day. But again, every day is different. Sometimes I'm polishing 10 bars. Sometimes I'm polishing 50 abutments. Sometimes I'm just all day on the phone. So it's really a back and forth for me. It's not really like a solid day kind of same deal.
And that leads me to the next question. How do you manage, because I've seen your work, and I just have to ask myself, how do you manage the day-to-day, which again, it's full of variables. You don't know what curveball or what you're going to be, what's going to come across your desk. How do you manage that and keeping the highest level of quality that you do in your position?
Well, you know, like once you learn the trade and you like your trade, then I guess every day you do more cases, you get better at what you do. So at the end of the day, once you're at a certain level, the quality for you stays the same. It's not like if I spend 3 hours in the case, it's going to look better than I spend 2 hours in the case. For me, the quality go out, stays the same because I have a certain perception how it should look like, and that's how it leaves the office. So if it doesn't go out the perfect way, I don't even send it out. I will schedule the patient or schedule with the client and get it out the next day to have it on the level I need it to. But again, quality is the keyword right here. Nothing leaves unless it's to the standards that I believe is where it has to be. And that's where I originally got brought on to Imagine as well, because we needed somebody to have the quality control, be able to look at the units, be like, this is acceptable to go out, and that's not. It's like you need to have somebody in charge who has an understanding what it should look like and what's really not acceptable. And if you have this key person in the lab who has this understanding, you're gonna have a team under him of like 50 people who do their day-to-day work, and I just at the end of the day check, look what has to be adjusted, look what has to be remilled, and look what can leave the office.
Now you said something very interesting. You said that once you've been in the industry for a while and you know what you're doing, pretty much your level or the level of work is going to be the same. But then you said the level of quality. So then I begin to think to myself, what happens to those people or maybe technicians that maybe have been so overwhelmed, maybe the people that own or technicians that own their own laboratory that have possibly are under a high level of stress for whatever reasons, got to get the bills paid, got to get the other 2 or 3 techs that are working with me. What happens with that with that quality? Does it stay the same or does it begin to diminish?
Again, I feel like this is where the technician or the owner of the lab, who runs the lab, has those 2 options, right? Either way, one side, even if it's your personal life or your lab side, is going to take a hit. If you want to go for this persistent quality that you want, you got to work long hours, you got to work overtime, you got to work at nighttime too to get that achievement that you're looking for, right? Other labs are like, you know what? It's 5 o'clock, the crown goes on the bench. If it's halfway done, it goes out. If not, it stays in house. But it's like, for me, it was always, I make the extra 2-3 hours overtime to get it to the point where I want it to be and leave. But my personal life took a huge hit with that. I could never hold any girlfriends. I never had like pretty much any friends except people in the industry who talk dental all day long, that you are with the office with them. And then maybe at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, when you leave the office, you go have a beer with them. But actually, people that are not in dental are kind of out of your range. Just because you decide to put all your hard work into the office, everything personal just stands behind. And that was my big problem. That's why I originally ended up merging with Imagine, because I had no free time. It was just day in, day out. I went to the office. I had a lot of work, and you get referrals and you want to take those on as well. Again, it takes up to the technician to be like, okay, I can't take that much work, and that's what I can achieve, and that's what I can make good quality with, and anything above is just too much for me, right? It's up to the individual lab owner or technician who works in those cases. Or it's just going to be like, dude, I have no life. It's just going to be work for a while, and that's what it is. But again, quality dropped. Not like quality dropped, but like pricing dropped a lot in the last few years when it comes to dental in the United States, correct?
Right.
I mean, we used to be paid a couple $100s for a crown, which right now for a full control crown get paid, what can you charge now? $65, $99 at most. If you have a good client, they maybe charge $125 for a zirconia Broxier crown. So you're gonna have to have a lot of cheap labor and make a lot of quantity to get to that level of profit, which is hard to get, especially with bigger labs out there who have the ability to get big orders in of materials, to get the pricing down and make a bigger profit end of the month. It's harder for smaller labs to compete unless they are really high end and they have good clients who are willing to pay the extra buck to go out there and make a profit, correct? So that's at least something that I noticed on my side. But again, at one point, it was so much work for me. It was like, the merge is going to be the best option for me and my team and for my clients end of the day as well. Sure, it's going to be like a little figuring out in the beginning and getting clients into the order and following a new protocol. But end of the day, a half year down the road, it's going to be better for everyone. I will have some more free time. I'll be more relaxed to sit down and more excited to stack all them for if I don't have to stack them all myself, right? And that's
in other words, teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly, dream work. But again, it's hard to get those really skilled technicians because they cost a lot of money. And if you don't have those good doctors who pay you the extra buck, it's really hard to hire a technician and make a profit end of the year. So it's easier to hire a skilled labor, that's what I call them, which have somewhat of an insight of the industry, but not much, and then hand train them on and trying to get to the level where you're at. and then try to keep them once they learn the trade too, right? That's the hard part. Most of the people, once they learned, then they're like, hey, I have this great skill, and I'm just like Erik now too. I can go ahead, make my own lab, and try to jump after some clients that he has. So it's like, it's this happy medium of making understanding with the people that you hire, training them up, and getting them up there, and then keeping them as well, right? So yeah, dreamwork, teamwork is the dream work, but then again, it's hard. It's hard to keep the people once they're good.
Right. In other words, it would have to be in my opinion, or what I'm hearing from you, would have to be people that are like-minded and are looking towards the same goal. It's not,
Yes.
it's not a particular profit at the end of the month, but it's a particular end game or result in the long run of building
Of course. Like,
a client base. And
yeah, it's the long term that you're looking into. Like the short term, month to month, really doesn't matter much. But the long term, year to year, that's what you're looking into. That's what you want to improve and want to go a step ahead every year, right? But if you don't have that, what's even the point of having one?
right, because
Right?
I mean, it's interesting to consider what you're saying and weigh in on the fact that yes, if you sell price, you're going to be in a really bad war, because there's always going to be somebody that's going to try to beat you on price. But in this case, as you mentioned, you're not willing to compromise on quality, and there will be doctors that are willing to go the extra mile to give their customers a much better result, because in
Yeah.
the end, I mean, we're talking about the health of the customer. I mean, we're talking about functionality and in certain parts of the mouth and aesthetics. Sure, absolutely, but functionality. I mean, I believe that can be compromised if we're not careful with that. So,
Yes.
Erik, you are not. Although you were born in California, you were raised, did all your training in Europe,
In in Switzerland, yes,
in
that's correct.
Switzerland. Talk to me a little bit
Everything.
about that, please.
Yes. So I was born in California, but my parents brought me back to Switzerland once they had all the schooling done over here, and I basically grew up in Switzerland, so dual citizen. Um, Yeah, Europe in particular is very different from the United States dental market. I would say Switzerland particularly is different. When you go like to more sort of eastern kind of countries like Russia, Ukraine, prices are almost the same as here in the States. But then if you go like to Switzerland, Germany, Italy, France, those have higher prices. And the reason for that is that they have really intense educational program. Like for example, in Switzerland, in order to become a CDT, a dental technician, which you need in order to work for a dental lab. You cannot work for a dental lab in Switzerland unless you have a CDT. Same in Italy, France, and Germany, Austria, Liechtenstein, all those countries surrounding Switzerland is the same deal. You need a CDT, which takes 4 to 5 years to complete, right? Now, in order to become a CDT, you have to join a school first. So you cannot join a school before you made a pre-test where they test you if you have the skills to become a dental tech. So they bring you in for 1 week. You're bending wires, you're matching shades, you're building teeth out of clay, and you have teachers there who look at the work that you do and be like, you know what, you don't have it, you don't have the hand skills to become a dental tech, and then you have the ones who have the skills. The ones that have the skill and are able to go to school, they still have to look for a dental lab to join.
Mm.
So if you are accepted through the test to go to school, but you don't find a dental lab, you still don't become a CDT. So you basically have to get accepted through the test to go to school, find a dental lab that you want, and find a good one as well. Because if you find a bad dental lab, I mean, like, it's good what you get out of school, but you still want to have a good dental lab that you can practice what you learn at school, correct?
Right.
So
Apply it.
let's say, for example, you went through it, you got accepted to school, you found a dental lab, and that's when you start working at the job. That basically means 4 years intense, 3 days, or 3 to 4 days at the lab, and 1 day at school. At school, you get the basics for like all the theory you need. You start skidding, you start painting teeth, bending wires again, going a lot of theory of like partials in the beginning and just morphology and the tooth numbering. everything that you need as a base to build on top, correct?
Mm.
And then depending on which lab you chose or chose you to work for them in those 4 years, you're gonna be either, well, let's step it back. There's labs in Switzerland that do everything, and there's labs that do just certain things like crown and bridge, and that's just denture laboratories. But then there's bigger labs, like 40-man people who do everything. Now you try to go to a lab who does everything so you can practice everything that you learn at school. After 2 years being at school, you have a midway test where you basically do a partial, a gold crown, and I believe it was a 3-unit porcelain stacked crown, bridge. And if you don't pass that test, you can't go on further. That means like career ended for you right there. That means after 2 years, you didn't put enough effort inside to learn what you should learn to become the dental tech. So they're very strict. If you don't pass that test, I feel like you have the option to redo all those 2 years and start from the beginning again.
Wow.
But I never heard anybody doing this that just flunk out at that point.
Wow.
But if you do pass the test, you can continue to go to school. As like first year, I think it was partials, removables. And second year, you go like, what was it, into ortho. And the third year and fourth year is just about ceramics. So after those 4 years are completed, you have basically like 2 weeks of final testing where you have to make an upper and lower denture setup, finish completed, and you show them every single step you do and every single step of what you're doing, like the tooth selection, the wax up of it, the finishing of the wax up, the casting of the denture. All that gets judged by the judges, and you get a certain scaling for it, and that will determine if you pass or not. We made a full roundhouse case in ceramics, an ortho plate. What else did we do? I think, we had 4 hours of theory talking to a doctor and just seeing if we have the theory and the backup to hold a conversation in Latin with the doctor. So there's a lot of that goes in to become a certified tech in Switzerland. And I feel that's what makes the whole difference when you compare the States to Europe or per se Switzerland. You don't have that here. I mean, yes, you have a CDT training, but it's nothing compared to what you do in Europe. And it's not even, it's optional. You don't have to do it. You can work as a dental technician in the States without a CDT. You can be hired from the streets and just be like, you know what? I teach you how to wax this up. I don't even have to explain you why you wax this up. You just do the same thing over and over. And that's how I became a skilled labor at the dental lab. You know?
So there's a huge difference.
It's an enormous difference.
It's abysmal.
Quality-wise, it makes a big difference as well. You're going to think about, I talked with a friend of mine about a half a month ago, like 2 weeks ago. And he has a laboratory in Switzerland. He went to school with me as well. And he charges for a Broxier full contour crown about 500 to 600 Swiss francs. It's about $700 for a Broxier crown, which we dropped from 99 to like 75 in the last half year.
Wow.
So you guys see, like, quality and pricing is beyond.
Yeah, it's exponential. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I remember the first week being in the States, and I had this case. It's like an upper molar, right? And it was like, I went all out. I first climbed, I went in there, stacked porcelain all around. I get a lot of details in it, a lot of characterizations, a lot of deep pits, like European-looking crowns. American call them the European-looking crown, right? The doctor sent me back saying, I can't use it. And I'm like, you can use it. I went all out. I wanted to make him happy, right? And he's like, you can't use it. It's too nice. If he has to replace the tooth next to it, he will never find a matching crown.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, okay. I have to dial myself down and make less detailed occlusions, less detailed facials, just like to please the doctor with what the actual patient already has or will have previously from another lab or afterwards from another lab.
Wow.
It's like that. I was shocked at the time, but I learned, and nowadays unless it's requested to go all out, I don't go all out. You know?
So the focus, in other words, it's functionality, but the details you leave aside when it's not called for. Is that correct?
It's correct, yes. And I had to learn it the hard way. I mean, 80% of the clients don't look for that high-end work. They're looking for something affordable, they can make money with, they get it in time back, and it's more or less the right shade, and they're happy with it, right? Side contacts are okay, and that's it. But it doesn't have to look like a real tooth.
Wow.
You know, we try to make real teeth or make them look like real teeth, but most of the times they're happy with something that looks like a crown. You know?
Wow.
That's something that I had to learn the hard way. But, here and there you have a very nice doctor which just like takes the conversation with you. You can sit down. He gives you enough time to accomplish the job that you're trying to accomplish. Because if you have an all-on-4, or like you have 12 upper units, they're all single crowns, Emax, Lisi, and you want to stack porcelain on it, but it gives you like 2 days for it, and you have 2 other all-on-4s on the side, and they all have to go out in 2 days. It's up to me to make either 2 night shifts or to reschedule it or be like, okay with what you get, which is a huge hit on my pride if I have to send it out not correct. But then again, if he's okay with semi-as good work, go ahead, right? It's really this understanding. If the doctor understands what you need time on to do the units, if the doctor understands what it takes to make a good case, that's when you have to dream work. Because not every client is your optional client. Everybody strives to get more and more clients in, more and more people who send you work. But end of the day, you don't want all of those clients. Some of them are really hard to work with. Some of them don't like to pay their bills on time. Some of them don't like to pay their bills at all, right? So it's like, it's really figuring out which ones of the clients you want to keep, you can work with. And once you find those clients, you should stick with those. And after a while, I feel like you kind of feel them out, right? You come in, you make 2-3 cases, and then you can determine if you want to keep working with the client or not.
Wow. That's certainly a conversation that I was having with a buddy of mine, that there are some doctors that they tell you, let's we'll do it in 30 days, and then they'll change the 30 days. How about we change it to the 60-day rule? And then 60 days goes by, and like, how about we turn it into a 90-day rule? It's like, wait a minute, where's the limit?
Yeah, you're right. But see, like, I have this sometimes too. Sometimes you work on a case, and then all of a sudden you get a call in. It's like the patient's temporary broke. You have to push this ahead. So you have to look for the conversation with the other client to push their case back. And it's kind of a trickle-down effect. So you have to talk with a whole bunch of clients to get the case pushed ahead to keep another client happy. And sometimes those cases turn out to be like, you have a month in the house, maybe 2 months in the house, till you have time to go ahead and stack on that arch, which is really hard sometimes. I mean, I feel it myself. I feel bad when I have an arch standing on my desk for like 2 months. I'm like, I have other cases that I have to go up before that one. And you try to please everyone, but sometimes it's just not possible. You do the best you can. But then again, it's up to you as an owner or as a director or anybody to hire people, train them up so they can jump on the team and help out where it's needed.
It's a big difference than the mentality and the training that you brought from Europe, and how you felt the market here. Obviously, it was an eye opener for you, and it's very interesting, as you mentioned, that anybody can just walk into a lab and start working. There's not a requirement for anybody to be part of a professional institution, because being a dental technician, you must be a professional at what you do. Otherwise, the patient on the other side is going to have, obviously, the doctor's possibly not going to put something in the mouth of the patient that's going to cause headaches or any issues with the jaw, because that's just not, it's going to reflect back on him. So exactly. I mean, there's a deeper understanding other than just aesthetics that are required for a dental technician to be successful at what they do. But you're right. We were speaking with Bart Cawthorn, who his show went live on last Monday, and we talked about how he's on the FDLA, Florida Dental Laboratory Association, and he's pushing for people in Florida to become CDTs, to raise the level of quality, to raise the level of accountability.
Yes, but see, like, this is a good point to bring up. He's pushing people to take that CDT. But that CDT, I mean, I train people who made their CDTs. I interview people who made their CDTs, and it's not something that's just like that high end. They just get the basics, And I feel like some of the schools, they're just trying to charge money to give them that title, and they're happy with it. They don't actually make people fail, per se. Because not everybody can become a CDT. Like, come on. Can everybody
Right.
become a soldier? No. You make you test them first to see if they're fit health-wise. You should test us as well. Are they fit? Are they skilled, labored? Do they have the hand skills to do a tooth? It's, I mean, it's a hard thing. And plus, as well, it costs money, right? It costs money to make a CDT. Like in Switzerland, it costs you nothing. You just have to be good at school and push it through. Now, I'm saying if the lab doesn't pay for the technician to make a CDT, why should the technician by himself go out and pay them money, which is it's not a little money. It's quite a big chunk of money to pay to make a CDT.
Right.
While you don't even pay those skilled laborers enough money to pay rent sometimes.
Very interesting.
I'd have to say, I worked my way all the way up, and then I made some mistakes, and I fell down, and I made my own lab again. And I worked for labs too on minimal salaries before, but just because I had to at that time. And the paychecks you see is sometimes it's quite scary. You're like, wow, this guy is working really hard, and that's all he's getting out of it. So I feel like end of the day, there has to be some adjustments on the market when it comes how much can we charge a client, so we can charge our techs more, so they are more willing to do the extra mile, right? I feel like this is a conversation that's like on a higher base, but I feel like a lot of people in the industry, when it comes to dental technician on the labor side, are underpaid for what they're doing.
And it's interesting what you said a moment ago, and it was just hit home with me when you said they are not trying to make them fail. Exactly. It's very interesting that you said that, because the point is not becoming a factory that's pushing out low quality, but weeding out those that are not meant for this.
Exactly. But I don't think this happened. I feel like you go to CDT school, you just go through regardless. Once you pay that fee, they make you pass.
Yeah, you paid for it. You paid for a piece of paper, in other words. You didn't pay for you paid for a piece of paper that just says that you were here.
Exactly, because if you wouldn't have to pay, it would make more sense that the society looks into it and it's like, okay, those people are not skilled enough to become a dental tech, which helps out the overall field, right?
Of course.
Push people in saying they are CDT, but they are not really skilled for the job. They'll be pushing a whole bunch of CDTs through who are not skilled labor to do the job. And then they're walking around from lab to lab as CDTs, not actually able to do the job. But then again, there's people who are skilled and they just have what he has. And there's people who can be trained on. So even if they have the CDT, you can still train them to their upper, higher level if they didn't get it through the school, per se. But again, of course, the CDT teaches you some basics like tooth morphology, tooth numbering, which is good. I mean, you can't badmouth it altogether, but yes, I feel like there should be some more stricter patience on getting those technicians not just to school, but actually checking up on him. Be like, is he really, really well enough to have a CDT on his back?
Interesting. Correct? In other words, what you're saying is that the standard of what's expected should be raised a little higher, or maybe a lot higher. I've met with and here on the show, the show's only been up for 5 episodes, but way before this, I was doing this before. I was having conversations with dental technicians before we were doing the podcast. And, I'm involved in some conversations where, it's very interesting what you're saying. And absolutely, I'm having somebody just walk in, giving somebody an opportunity is one thing, but allowing somebody with no understanding to come and possibly even influence the outcome of the health of a patient is certainly something that I believe to a certain degree could even be said irresponsible, because we're talking about people's health. We're not talking about, some jewelry that they can take off whenever they want. I mean, it's something that goes in the mouth. Exactly. It's very interesting.
There's this one case that I once had a doctor request for me to redo a case that another lab did. I got the old crown back from the lab, and it was shocking for me to see what they did. The guy who glazed the crown, it was a Broxia crown. The crown came back to me, and I looked at it, it was like really rough. And what I found out was that guy, the last glazing step he did, he probably touched it with his hand and put it in the furnace. He literally had a fingerprint glazed onto the crown. You can imagine, you put the glaze on the crown, and he probably didn't have tweezers or any wonder peg underneath or harvest peg and put in the furnace to fire it correctly. He just grabbed it with his fingers with the glaze on it and placed it in his furnace, and he fired that way. And didn't double check the crown to see if this was okay to send out, because it went to the doctor, and the doctor actually cemented that crown. Till the patient came back
Wow.
after like 2 weeks and was like, it's a really rough surface right in the lingual area. And he looked at it and was like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, let me take this crown out and redo it. And he sent it to me. And I saw that crown and was like, how does the dental technician who did it looked at the crown, double checked the sign context and the quality of the crown, pushed it forward to the front office. The front office didn't catch it. The order didn't catch it. Quality control area didn't catch it. It went to the dentist. The dental assistant didn't catch it. The doctor didn't catch it. And then it's up to the patient to be like, is this really correct? This should never happen. But I feel like situations like this, they're more common than known.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
I was shocked when I saw this slide. I was like, wow, this is like next
For
level,
sure. For
right?
sure. For
And it's
sure. I
things
mean,
like this where it's just like, maybe not everyone should be a CDT. Not everyone should have a lab. Because again, United States, you're kind of free. If you want to open a lab, you can open a lab, no problem. You can be just a businessman and open a lab, hire people under yourself that you feel like they're good, but they may not even good, right? And you push it through with this understanding, oh, I have a good business, it runs well, but not actually bringing out the quality that you should.
wow.
Which again, maybe for some doctors is acceptable,
Right.
right?
Right.
You
Right.
have doctors from A to Z. So
Absolutely. For sure. For sure. I mean, the
some
market is
doctors
wide.
want those $45 crowns, which is like, boy, be happy with what you get back because you just pay $45 for it.
Exactly. Whereas, like, yeah. I want a particular vehicle, whatever the brand, but I want to pay $10,000 for it. Well, bud, you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
get
just
ten
different
thousand
because
dollars worth of.
that just hits you hard. But it's like, yeah, I saw so much stuff in the States that I never thought I would see in my life. But
Wow.
yeah, it hits you and shrivels you sometimes the wrong way. But you know what? All we can do is try to make a better case next time, right? Try to keep the
That's why.
patient happy. A lot of people forget the patient behind the dentist. Everybody tries to please the dentist, but a lot of people forget the patient behind it. And it's always good if you have a client who brings you in house to take your own shade on the patient, to have a conversation with the patient, what he would like to have. Those are the doctors that you love. I mean, I look at John and his wife. He has his wife right in house. He can see those patients firsthand.
Yes,
I would love
absolutely.
to. I would love to see more patients in house. I would love to, but being in an area where you're not close to any of your doctors, you're happy if you get a final picture for him. Most of the time, you get a picture is like, yo, supposed to be a 1-in-1. We're more on the B1 side. Can you like adjust this? And then you get a picture, right? But other than that, most of the times you don't even get a picture of the cases that you do.
Wow.
Unless the
Wow.
doctor has an Instagram and he can creep on his Instagram. Be like, oh, look at this. My case.
I did this.
I did this. It's like, oh, look at that. Let me put my name under it. Get it.
This guy's got to tag me. Have him
Tag me,
tag my
buddy.
work. That's interesting, my brother. Yeah, no. I think it's certainly something that it's related to what we were speaking with Bart a couple of days ago, and even with Dane Barlow, Bart Cawthorn a couple of days ago, and Dane Barlow about these classes and these courses that certain companies, whatever the company, brings an instructor, a master dental technician, and to sit down and do a hands-on. That way, the dental technician can see how the top level of the industry is doing what they do, and
Yes.
they can decide whether or not they stay where they're at or they move up and improve who they are, because in the end, we're only an extension of our results,
Yeah,
or,
you're
or rather
completely
our
correct.
results are an extension of who we are, rather, right?
Now,
So
if it comes to those classes, you're absolutely correct. Making those classes with somebody in charge that's really good at what he does, and is one trade, and then have people coming to watch him is the best way to learn. But then again, there's people who are getting greedy, and those classes turn from 5 people into 20 people into 50
yeah, no,
people. And then those people individually don't have access to that technician all the way up the front in this podium to ask questions, to go in detail what's really what it really takes to get this case done. So I feel like having a class of at most 8 to 10 people, that's where you get your golden rule. I mean, I would
That's your
love to
magic
have,
number. That's your
right,
magic number.
yeah,
8 to 10.
I would like to have classes with only 5 people. Then you have 5 people in there, and I make sure that every single one of those 5 people walks out of my class and learns something. But if I have 10 people, it's going to be hard to be on every single's desk and every single one helping out, especially if you just have like 2 or 3 days time, right?
It
Because
gives
at the end of
people
the
the
day,
opportunity to ask.
you're right. You're right. Plus, if there's 10 to 20 people in there and everybody has a question, we've just been talking all day, right? Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's really a happy medium. Try to figure it out. Try to be able to go out there. And then again, I feel like always staying humble. That's the key word. Don't try to get a fool of yourself, because honestly, there's always somebody better out there than you. There always is someone better. And he may be not famous, he may be hiding, but he's better than you. So stay humble. Try to learn as much as you can every day. Look at pictures. I mean, I look at pictures every day. I'm on Instagram, creeping on every single Instagram post, looking out there what other people do. And then I see a picture, I snap it, I look at it all day long, try to make my tweaks to it as well. It's all up to you. It's all up to the
Absolutely.
individual technician to become better. And unless you have that ambition to become better, you're not gonna move.
Right. I think there are a few technicians on a mission to improve or
Yeah,
raise the standard,
yeah.
raise
As
the
we
bar.
as we talked last time as well, I feel like social media raising the bar already as is. I mean, like I feel like Facebook never did what Instagram does right now for people. Instagram is like, I would anybody wants to learn, follow some key people on Instagram, and you're gonna kick it harder after a while. You're gonna be on those little posts they have on there. They explain every single detail they do, and you see the end result, the start to finish. I mean, that's where you as a technician can learn something without even taking a class.
That's amazing. I mean, that
Yeah.
we were speaking with Elvin Santos, who was on the show maybe about 3 weeks ago,
Hmm.
and I asked him. One of the questions was, Elvin, what took your work from where you were to the explosion where you just grew exponentially? His
Hmm.
answer literally was this: what we're doing now, technology.
Yeah.
He said to him at that point in where he started growing was Facebook, because that's what was hot at that time, because
Yeah.
Instagram didn't exist. But guess where he's
I
at
feel you.
now? He's on Instagram.
Instagram, yeah, Instagram. It's like my
Listen,
Facebook is pretty much dead at this point. I mean, like I'm still sometimes on Facebook, but mainly Instagram. All day Instagram. People
it
text me,
makes
"Oh,
it so
are you
much
even
easier.
working?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm looking at cases right now. It's work. It's like educating
Exactly.
yourself, being out there and
Exactly.
looking for the next hot thing to see and be like, I want to try that, you know." Try without even knowing what he did first, and then the next post 2 days later he explains it. You're like, "Oh damn, man, I should have just waited," you know.
So, Eric, so you are a very active individual. Your mind is constantly shooting here and shooting there, and your mind is constantly creating.
Yeah,
You
I
showed me
try to.
something interesting. You showed me something interesting
Oh, what?
before we went live.
Oh,
What is this
about
new
race
company
cars?
that you just that you're about to launch, brother?
Well, I'm a big raver. I like to go to EDC
Wait. I didn't
festivals.
hear you. Can you repeat that?
I was saying I'm a big raver, right? I go out to raves like the EDC festivals. I'm out there moonrise. I'm
My
always
man.
kicking it hard. But if you go to those festivals, most of the times you wake up next day and you grinded your teeth all night. You're clenching your teeth together. Anything you put in your mouth that's hot or cold after the next day is gonna hurt your occlusion. Your jaw is hurting from clenching your jaw all night. I mean, like I don't even know what you do at these festivals, but you'll be in pain next day, right? So I figured, like, there must be a way for me to fashionably put something out there that people can wear during the raves, and next day don't have to worry about all this pain they're going through with going hard all night. So we came up with this rave guard, what we call it. We're gonna run it under All Guard USA eventually, but for right now it's rave guard. You find it on the www.rafeguard.com.
We're going to put it on the description, just
yes,
so that the listeners will know. We'll put it in the description.
It's like a double-layered clear guard suck down on the existing mount, right? So basically, what you can order from us is a box. We provide you with impression materials to take your own impression. With a little selection of like Swarovski stones that you can select. You send this impression back to us. We scan that impression in, put it in our library, print them all, and make 2 suck downs over it. The first suck down is just a adaptation to the actually regular mold, and then we cement 200 Swarovski stones over your whole facial of your mouth and make an over suck down over it and seal them in. Now this gets cut up around your gum area, and you can pop it in, pop it out, protects your occlusion, looks all fancy. We give you a little case for it, and then you can rave all night long. Looks like a grill, looks like straight ice. Super nice. I mean, we'll be launching it pretty soon, probably like next month. We're gonna have the first order hitting in, and we're still trying to get like a little bit of marketing going. Right now, we have a picture session going on next weekend at Echo Stage in DC. So that's going to be pretty big. We have all the bartenders there wearing some rave guards. So I'm going to be excited. But yeah, that's a project I do on the side next to Imagine, which is like where I put all my heart in, right? Because if you work all day on all-on-4s and single crowns, I mean, it's nice and it's fun, but you want something on the side where you're really happy into it. And for me, that's rave guard. We started like 2018, and we're finally about to finalize everything. So I'm super excited. We have a Shopify account on there and everything. And yeah, rolling it hard, man.
My man.
Anybody that goes to raves and wants to protect their teeth for a small amount, you can literally have a grill. And once we have one impression done, we have it on file. So you can just order online more grills and, well, more rave guards, and we just suck them down for you and send them out to you.
Man, that sounds fantastic. I think we're gonna have to get a promo code for the followers, the Lab Media TV followers and the Dental Today podcast followers, or something like that.
And I'm telling you, once you get your braces out, I send you a box, and we make one for yourself as well. How about that?
My man.
Sounds like a plan, right?
Erik, it's always a pleasure. Thankfully, at this time, we were able to speak a little bit in depth, and I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your experiences. We hope to have you soon again. I know that we have something pending with one of your doctor friends as well, where we're going to talk about deeper on other things. Let's keep it a surprise. We're looking forward to that. And hopefully, Erik, I'll be out in California soon so that I can meet you out there in Imagine, the rest of the team.
Sweet. Sounds like a plan, man. We are looking forward to have you down here too. And yeah, let's go back to that doc. We should have somebody join you. He was supposed to join today, but I think he's really busy. But this guy is a beast. I mean, I never seen any doctor making so many all-on-4s, and yeah, it's amazing. If you hear him speak, what he does on a daily basis blows your mind. So I'm really excited to eventually on the podcast with us together there. So once he's ready, we jump on that and then pick it out there as well, okay?
For sure. Erik, a pleasure.
Same here, buddy, man. I'll talk to you later, okay?
You got it. Ladies and gentlemen, till next time. Dental Today podcast.